All right, today we're tackling a classic houseplant mystery: how to get the watering just right for a peace lily. If you want to keep this gorgeous plant looking its best, you've come to the right place. Let's jump right in.
So, if you have a peace lily, you know this scene all too well. One minute, it's standing tall, looking all lush and green. The next, it's completely collapsed, like it's the star of some tragic play. It is, by far, the most frustrating thing for owners. But what if I told you it's not actually being dramatic?
That's really it. This isn't some weird mood swing your plant is having. It's actually one of the clearest signals a plant can possibly give you. Your peace lily is trying to communicate, and its message couldn't be simpler. I'm thirsty. Getting this is really the first step to becoming a watering pro. So, how can you tell it's time for a drink before it does that big dramatic droop? Well, there's a golden rule. Think of it like a master key to understanding exactly what your plant needs. And you know what? It's way simpler than you think. This is it, folks, the finger test. Master gardener Tabar Gifford absolutely swears by this. Forget about strict schedules or calendar reminders. All you gotta do is stick your finger into the soil. If that top inch or two feels dry to the touch, it is officially time to water. That's it. So simple. Now, generally speaking, the finger test will probably have you watering somewhere around once every 7 to 10 days. But, and this is a really big but, you can't set your watch by it. The key thing to remember is that your plant's environment can and will change everything. To really get this right, you kind of have to become a plant detective. It's all about analyzing the scene, your home, and understanding the 4 key things that are always affecting just how thirsty your peace lily gets. Here are your 4 big clues: sunlight, the type of soil it's in, the room's temperature and humidity, and of course, the size of its pot. Let's break down each one. First up is sunlight. Think of it like your plant's engine. A peace lily is at its happiest when it gets about 6 to 8 hours of bright but indirect light. The more light it gets, the more energy it's using, and the faster it's going to slurp up the water in its soil. Less light, that soil's going to stay damp for a lot longer. Next, let's talk soil. According to horticultural educator Ankit Singh, this makes a huge difference. If your plant's in one of those light, airy potting mixes, with stuff like peat and perlite, water will drain out really quickly. But a denser, heavier soil, that's going to hold on to moisture for much, much longer. The soil itself really dictates the pace. Peace lilies are tropical plants, so they have a comfort zone. They love temps between 65 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and they like humidity between 40 and 60%. If your home is warmer or drier than that, especially in the winter when the heat is blasting, that dry air will literally pull moisture from the soil faster, which means you'll have to water more often. And finally, there's the pot. It's pretty simple physics, right? Smaller pots hold less soil, which means they dry out faster. If you feel like you're watering that thing constantly, it might be a sign that it's root-bound, and it's probably ready for a bigger home. Oh, and one thing is absolutely non-negotiable. The pot must have a drainage hole. Okay, so you've done the finger test, you've checked out the environment, you know when it's time to water, so now let's cover how to do it with the perfect pro technique. Here is the expert-approved method. First, try to water in the morning. This gives the plant the whole day to soak up what it needs. Second, be thorough. Don't just sprinkle a little on top. Keep watering until you see it running freely out of that drainage hole. Third, and this is so important, immediately dump out the water in the saucer. Letting a plant sit in a puddle gives it wet feet, which is just asking for root rot. And fourth, as Ankit Singh points out, it's best to use filtered or distilled water, because these plants can be a little sensitive to the chemicals we have in our tap water. And here's a fantastic pro tip from Tabar Gifford for what she calls a spa-like experience. Try bottom watering. You just set the whole pot in a shallow tray of water for about 15 or 20 minutes and let the soil soak up the moisture from the base. It's an amazing way to make sure the roots get evenly hydrated. Okay, but what if you've already made a few mistakes? How can you actually tell if your plant is suffering from too much water or not enough? Let's get into how to read the signs and figure out what the problem is. It is so important to know the difference here. With overwatering, you'll see yellowing on the lower leaves, and here's the biggest clue. The plant is wilting even though the soil is still wet. That's a massive red flag. With underwatering, you get that classic droop, but the leaves will perk right back up after a good drink. You'll also see brown, crispy tips on the leaves. They tell 2 completely different stories. So as we start to wrap this up, the number one thing to take away is this: there is no magic watering schedule. The secret to a truly happy peace lily isn't a calendar reminder on your phone. It's observation.
It's all about paying attention and just responding to what your plant and its environment are telling you. You now have all the tools a plant detective needs. You've got the golden rule, you know the environmental factors, you have the right technique, and you know how to read the distress signals. So the only question left is this: what is your peace lily trying to tell you?